A lot of talk today about Senator Mitch McConnell, a congressional doctor today, saying the Senate Minority Leader is medically cleared to do his job. This after he froze for a second time during a press conference.
But some people are still calling for McConnell to step down. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene writing severe aging health issues and or mental health incompetence in our nation's leaders must be addressed. Biden, McConnell, Feinstein, and Fetterman are examples of people who are not fit for office, and it's time to be serious about it. Greene would continue, these politicians, staff, and family members should be ashamed of themselves by enabling and allowing their loved ones to remain in office, all to hold power. We're talking about our country's national security, and it's all at stake. 25th Amendment and other measures need to be on the table.
And D.C. Drano adds time to preserve this man's last shred of dignity and resign. The American people deserve competent leadership in the United States Senate. Nobody would hire this guy to drive a school bus, so why should he be determining our foreign and domestic policy?
Interesting points there. Joining us now with their reactions, Washington editor for The Spectator and author of The Snowflakes Revolt, Amber Athey. And let's bring back Jessie Jane Duff. We also have Whitley Yates joining us, Project 21 volunteer, to discuss. I'm going to start with you, Whitley. What do you think about this? What is the solution, and is it time for Mitch McConnell specifically to step down?
You know, I think if the doctors are saying that he's okay and he feels like he's okay, then he should be able to continue on with his job. I do find it interesting that people are, harping on Mitch McConnell, but no one's saying anything about Biden, who seems to sometimes have some type of sunset dementia where he doesn't know where he is, forgets what he's saying in the middle of speaking. I think that if it's good for the goose, it should be good for the gander. And no one has questioned Biden's ability to do his job as president when we all know that he's ailing and in failing health.
Yeah, Amber, which brings the question, I mean, some people at 80 are fine. Some people are not. And we're seeing examples across the board. Should there be an age limit? We earlier had former Senator Alphonse D'Amato, and he said we should have term limits and then let people decide whether you're competent.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily about age, but about health. And as you alluded to, some people at 80 are perfectly well, some people are not. And I think in this case with Mitch McConnell, I would be curious to know whether or not some of these issues are stemming from that fall that he had at a fundraising dinner at the former Trump Hotel in D.C. earlier this year. He was out of the Senate for quite some time, and there was even speculation that some of his colleagues were holding lunches with fellow senators trying to shore up support for some leadership battle in anticipation of him retiring, which he didn't do. He came back, he said, I'm here to stay. And then he's had several of these incidents. So I just wonder if he's not waiting for this Kentucky governor race to see what happens if Daniel Cameron ends up pulling it out for the Republicans, because he would probably much prefer that Daniel Cameron appoint a successor as opposed to the current Democratic governor, Andy Beshear.
Jessie Jane,
just for the record, yeah. I believe the legislature would choose 3 people which Beshear could select from, and they would be Republican. They wrote that law over the past couple years. He vetoed it, Beshear did, the governor, and then they overrode it. So normally it's the governor. Kentucky happens to be a little different. Jessie, here's what I'm wondering. Let's talk about the future of this position of the minority leader, because it seems like Marjorie Taylor Greene, really what she's talking about is let's get somebody who's kind of different in the party than Mitch McConnell.
I do think that there's many Republicans, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are disappointed in Mitch McConnell already because he wasn't necessarily a big supporter of President Trump, and she is. And there were other issues that she felt that he was lackluster in enthusiasm, such as impeachment hearings for Joe Biden. That is something that now gives an opportunity for those that are pro-Trump and those that are pro-impeachment, at least going through the process of listening to the evidence against Joe Biden. They know that they have that block right there in the Senate. But at the same time, I do appreciate that we're calling out what it is. She listed Fetterman, Dianne Feinstein, and she also listed Joe Biden. She didn't restrict this just
That's
to Joe
true.
McConnell. At the end of the day, we look at all of these people that are having difficulty. Now, Mitch McConnell still has his devices about him. Make no mistake, those that I know that know him, he runs a tight ship. Unfortunately, his public presentations have been, he's had these 2 freezes, but behind the scenes, he is still a man with a hammer. So let's see what's going to happen. I doubt he will run for re-election, and let's hope that we can get a candidate in there that can be elected by the people.
Interesting. Whitley, again, as we see President Biden speaking, we saw him earlier today at the FEMA headquarters in Washington, D.C. It's hard to imagine him in, 4 or even 5 years being able to do the same job that he seems to have trouble doing right now. Oh, we lost Whitley. Amber, sorry, tried to put you on the spot there. But again, it just seems that Joe Biden's, to Jessie's point, re-election ability, actually, his cognitive abilities, just won't stand up to another term.
Right. You even heard Nikki Haley say recently in an interview that she did not believe that Biden would be able to handle a full second term. And of course, the mainstream media treats that as some kind of crazy conspiracy theory when the evidence in front of us makes it seem more likely than not. And I applaud the Republicans who are calling this out for what it is. I think it's ridiculous that the Democrats, stood by this guy who had a stroke on the campaign trail, stood by this woman who was out for shingles and then came back and didn't know where she was. And so naturally, they're happy to join the chorus of people criticizing Mitch McConnell. And I think, there's obviously something there that needs to be looked into. But let's have a consistent standard across the board.
Jessie, do you have any names of leaders within the Republican Party that may step up, or is this too inside the Beltway stuff right now that we're not privy to?
No, I unfortunately don't. And I'm pretty tuned into what's going on into the Beltway. And I haven't heard a lot of Republican leaders that have the respect of not just the voters, but of the party itself. Mitch McConnell has really maintained being a strong leader. He is a big reason we have so many federal judge appointments that Donald Trump put forward. Although people feel that he has not supported Trump, guess what? All of those federal judges that got through is because of Chuck Grassley and looking at Mitch McConnell. They were the forces behind that, and it made a great effort that helped our country in massive ways. If it's just these 2 freezes and he's still doing what he needs to do, I appreciate what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, but I think Fetterman is far worse off. So is Dianne Feinstein, and we can see it every day with Joe Biden.
And as Amber pointed out, this may be the remnants. I think they even mentioned this today from what some believe was a concussion from his fall that you were talking about, Amber. So, but he's been.
I was going to say that his doctor has
Give him the
been
clear.
cleared. So, all right. Amber, Athey, Jessie, Jane, Duff, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Whitley, whom we lost.
And Whitley, who we lost.